Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Forgotten Vehicles. In this one, we're going to be talking about the Buggy and also the Phantom Wedge. But before we get into that, let's have a look at the Easter egg of the last episode. And yes, I was a child and I drew a penis with a motorcycle, but I have to admit that two comments were particularly funny that I wanted to showcase as well. In this episode, there will not be an Easter egg because, quite frankly, I kind of forgot about it, and also I don't really have any good ideas for them. So because of that, I think it's a good idea to let you guys come up with an Easter egg again, like we did in the previous episode, because the results of that were quite funny as well. The Buggy and the Phantom Wedge were first released in December 2016 in the Import-Export DLC. They were one of the most unique vehicles to ever hit GTA Online, and quite frankly, it was one of their first as well. Sure, you also had things like the Armored Boxville and the Technical Aqua and the Wastelander added to the game too, but in my opinion, these two really stood out in terms of the vehicles that you could get. I think we all remember the first time we played the Buggy mission where we suddenly realized that this thing actually doesn't look like a deformed car, but it more is something that we can literally use to just go through traffic at a very rapid speed while all the other cars are literally just flying behind us because it is a Buggy and you can literally use it as a ramp. The different things you could do with it and the different opportunities that were opened up because of it really made for some interesting experiences as the time goes on. I think many of you remember using the Turismo R as a ramp, but now we finally actually had a proper vehicle to start doing it. And sure, using the Buggy for a little bit too long would result into some unfortunate circumstances, that being, of course, the fact that the thing was going to be set on fire, because even though it was a Buggy, after a little while of abusing it for what it's meant to be used for, you kind of turned it into, rubber, really. Back then, there was actually a choice between the two options you had. The Buggy was really something that you would use if you wanted to go from point A to B without having to hustle too much with traffic. But whereas the Phantom Wedge was something that you could use if you wanted to go maybe a little bit slower, but at the same time had your engine protected because the actual thing that was doing it was on the front of the car and not basically in the middle where the engine was as well. So your chances of getting your Phantom Wedge destroyed was pretty damn minimal. The only thing back then you really had to worry about in terms of what was going to lock onto you was either a buzzard, a laser, or someone with a sticky bomb, and that was kind of it, which means that vehicles like this back then had more of a place. And yes, you could argue that fun vehicles like this are getting ruined by griefers and whatnot, but back then there really was a choice between the two vehicles. Do you want to go like a bit fast and just go through traffic really, or do you want to use the Phantom Wedge and have your engine protected by the thing that is in front? If you ever drove a Phantom Wedge, you would hear that it never ever switches gears, which of course is not really a bad thing, because obviously if you're using it for a bunker seal, you want to get there as fast as possible. And it's still one of the more fun bunker missions to do, because what is not fun about just going through traffic with a trailer at the back of your Phantom Wedge and just speeding through traffic trying to get to your sail location as quick as possible. But those are just some of my thoughts about the Phantom Wedge and the Buggy. Of course, I would love to know what you think in the comments down below. But with all that said and with all that done, that was it for this one. Thank you so very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all later.